Hi guys, this is Erica Weston with Fox Sports Midwest, and you're listening to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
Welcome to Season 8, Episode 74 of Let's Go Blues Radio, the often imitated but never duplicated, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. We're broadcasting live on Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. This is franchise episode number 261 all time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Kurt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And for your listening pleasure, for the next little while, we'll be talking Stanley Cup champion, St. Louis Blues hockey. To interact with the show on social media, you can follow the show on Twitter at LGB Radio. My handle is at Kurt Price. Bill's is at Billy Blue Note. Jeff's is at JPonder94. You can follow us on Instagram, like us on the Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel where this show is broadcast live each and every week during the NHL season. For those of you watching live on the YouTube show right now, feel free to comment in the live chat, and we'll address what we can. And also, the website is letsgoblues.com, where you can listen to or watch past episodes of the show, browse the fan discussion forum, as well as get some cool t-shirts, St. Louis Blues themed t-shirts, mugs, and stickers that always goes back and helps supports the show. Man, guys, it's fun to be back. What is up? Bill almost caught the corona, apparently.
I was close. Two negatives, though. Two negatives.
Two negatives. To return to play in the NHL, you need two more. So
is it two more or is it one more?
Four. Well, let's see if they have. I thought it was four in 48 hours or something. I don't know.
We clearly don't know what we're talking about. I don't know why we're broadcasting live.
There's two different variables. There's a test where you need four of them, and there's an instance where you need three of them. So I forgot which was which. So
it doesn't matter.
We'll cover it.
Bill's not playing. He wasn't picked up for the tournament, so we don't need to worry about it.
He may as well be playing for Detroit.
There you go.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Or San Jose.
You're gonna have the same stats as Jonathan Bernier. I couldn't even think of who their goalie is.
God, I've watched a lot of the NHL's highlights that they've been putting out lately, and just his stint with the Leafs. I don't know how he got another job. He was just abjectly terrible. But yeah, whatever.
Whatever, however it goes. We're animals, right? We're fierce, out of control, crazy. Anyway, who's a real big Fish fan? Anybody? No? Okay.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
Course.
Hungry like
I've
the
got
wolf,
every album, even the latest ones that are terrible.
I haven't heard of the latest one. I'm more of a classic.
Their problem is they did not grow with their audience. They're still trying to cater to teenagers, and that's just not how it works.
Yeah, you got to cater that's what Weird Al does. He tries to switch the audience to cater to the crowd,
and that's why he's been successful.
Yeah, well, he's okay, but Real Big Fish should stick with the people that you're saying Real Big Fish should stick with the people that made them semi-popular, right? I mean,
guys in their 30s and 40s, those are the people that are going to keep buying your albums, like me, and they've been terrible.
If you were a ska fan back in the 90s, right, then you're a ska fan now. Maybe.
I was a big ska fan in the 90s. That summer of ska, that one summer we had, that was so much fun.
I went and saw them in a concert at the pageant. They were fun.
I've seen them live. I think I saw them 5 times.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
I saw them. I was a big Less Than Jake fan. Trying to think of who else was in that genre. something
Giants?
corporate, I guess, kind of falls in there. They might be Giants. Yeah, I saw them. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. All good stuff.
They're fun
and
people.
Of course, Steve Ewing, seeing him multiple times as well.
Sure. Yeah, Steve's Hot Dogs in St. Louis. Go visit. Right.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned the Boston's. I had my hockey bag T-shirt that just stayed in the hockey bag for like 15 years was a Boston's T-shirt.
Nice, very nice. It's funny. It's funny because my wife.
I was going to say it's somewhere in my garage, and it's not pliable whatsoever anymore. It's preserved.
It's funny because my wife, every time we drink and she wants to listen to some music, she'll turn it on and she'll say, I'm going to play something I know you'll like, because it'll be like a string of terrible music that she likes. And then she'll put on, it's always the impression that I get by Mighty Mighty Boss Tones every time. And I'm like, you realize you say this every time we drink together. That's just how it goes.
And now here's something you'll really enjoy. Hey, are you monitoring the Facebook?
I
Facebook?
am.
Okay, all right. Just checking.
I've actually got it down to a science here, Kurt. I've got it down to a science. I've got 2 screens for my computer. On the right is you guys, so I can look at your beautiful smiling faces the whole time. And then on the left, I've got split screen between Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
So I'm all over the place.
So your bandwidth is split like 4 or 5 different times, right?
It's not very good. It's not a good thing. Plus, my wife's upstairs streaming, so it's not good.
See, I turned off everything in the house. I had anything streaming is off, and we'll see how.
Put the kids in the backyard.
Yeah, right. They're outside. Yeah, old school.
Get out, Daddy's
outside,
podcasting.
Yeah. And get off the internet. So Jeff has been holding down the Let's Go Blues Radio fort by conducting a number of interviews over the pause that the NHL has had, called Past to the Future, which has been quite entertaining. So Jeff, how's that been going for you?
Oh, it's been great. So I just wanted to say, because usually at the end of the summer series, I typically give a big thanks, and I didn't do that this last time because I wasn't sure. I know we kind of talked about doing a show today, but I didn't know if you guys wanted to hold off until right before the game next Wednesday, 1 week from today, when the Blues and Blackhawks face off in an exhibition game, as they say.
Bullshit.
I put air quotes on that because I don't know.
You don't think
seem like it's going to be exhibition?
You don't think Blues and Hawks fans are going to be amped up for that game? It's first hockey game we've had in forever.
That'll be the most amped up preseason game we've ever had.
The most amped up game. That means absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, so no, I wanted to give a quick thanks. First of all, if you have only been paying attention to our live shows and the shows that Kurt and Bill are on, we've had some awesome guests. We had Grant Fior, which Kurt actually joined me for.
That was fun.
But I'll list them all off really quick here. Jimmy McLennan, Ray Ferraro, Brandon Bullig, Ken Wilson, Carlo Koliakovo, Lubos Partechko, Grant Fior, Bernie Federko, Phil McRae, Joe Micheletti, Mike Weaver, Jeff Brown, and Curtis Sanford have all been on. I actually still have another one waiting in the wings with Greg Millen. That was an excellent one. For those who don't know, he's a Maple Leafs broadcaster now.
I meant to ask you before the interview to ask him about dancing to the Budweiser theme the organs play, because he was. I meant to ask you to make sure you ask him about that, but and you didn't. Okay, but my fault. I got his number. I've got his number. I'll call him. I feel like it was my fault because I thought of that. And I got to ask Jeff to ask him that, but okay, my fault.
Yeah. So that and then for again with. He was a great rookie with the Penguins. He has a great story, and I want to get this out, and we'll figure that out. But he has a great story about something that happened to him when he signed as an RFA with the Whalers. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that story, but he was with the Penguins, and basically because of the way communications worked back then, he signed as an RFA with the Whalers, and the Penguins just never really responded because they didn't really get the news properly. So, you think about that nowadays and you're like, that would never happen. I mean, right? It happens, and within 5 minutes it's on Twitter. back then, that's not how it was. So he told a great story about that. We'll have to get that one out. But I also want to say, since it's past the future, real quick, I'll just add Greg Boyson, David Siss, Marcus Boudelier, Joshua Kreitzer, and Eric Burton all helped me out with the prospect look. So if you have not checked out the past the future episodes, there's some really awesome stuff out there. So, and again, nothing to do with me, just great guests. If you're looking for any kind of content to hype yourself up for this upcoming tournament, make sure you check those out.
I did enjoy the Jeff Brown, the Jeff Brown interview. I listened to that one on the way when I was driving to the Ozarks. COVID Central, well, not COVID Central, but actually, based on how they acted down in the Ozarks, you wouldn't think that there was a pandemic at all. But anyway, I listened to it on the way down, and it was that the teaser story you sent out about the conversation with him and Millen. That was so funny, and then to have Millen on later, that was good stuff.
Yeah, I got his side of it too.
That was good stuff.
So it's a lot of fun. It's
we need that guy. Well, okay, we traded you to get him.
Oh man,
So
can you imagine that happening? I mean, my God. But that'd be like Jordan Binnington going to the Blues and saying, "Hey, that Ovechkin guy's pretty good." 2 days later, "Hey, Jordan, we just traded you for that Ovechkin guy." You know, that's just, God, that would be so frustrating.
I almost said Arthur Carlson for when you said about the trading Binnington for, I thought you were going to say like Carlson, Sharks. And I was like, Eric Carlson. And I was like, I almost said Arthur Carlson, which is the station manager for WKRP in Cincinnati. And that got me thinking, well, you know what? It'd be kind of funny if after Carlson would put up a goal to play the WKRP in Cincinnati theme in San Jose, because that'd be kind of funny. It's a bit of a stretch, but I think
so.
You can
Like
get there.
2 people in San Jose would get that.
WKRP was a fantastic show. It was really funny. Hey, have you seen it, Jeff?
I have not.
Oh, man. The Thanksgiving episode alone is worth watching. Oh my God. Oh,
WKRP. I'm writing this down.
You've never heard of it? Is it?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Oh. The first season is brilliant, and that includes the Thanksgiving episode and a number of good episodes. So it's old, 70s old school, but it's funny. Anyway,
I'll check that out.
It's good stuff.
So real quick, let's get to some of these chats. Austin Lynch is deciding to do what I'm doing. I guess he's in both the Facebook and the YouTube. I asked how I'm doing. Austin, we're doing great. Missed you guys. I'm glad you're all back. And he also asked if I've been playing roller hockey at Queenie. Yes, I have. They opened about a month ago. And again, remember, people, the Ponder tournament coming up in November. Find more information on that over at dropinstl.com. And let's see, just been doing all the dirty work, you bastards, from Jimmy Anderson. Thank you, Jimmy. I have been doing all the dirty work. These two have just been sitting on their hands.
Where are you reading this? Is this on the?
It's on the YouTube chat.
I'm seeing a blank on YouTube. Why am I seeing a blank?
I don't know.
Huh? And why am I asking
Jimmy,
you?
I want to say thank you. Jeff says Jeff rocking the flow like Oshie. Yeah, I got the flow going, baby. This is my COVID flow.
Oh, you know what? I got the wrong one up. That's why.
You idiot.
I'm completely a buffoon, practicing buffoonery on this end of the show. So let me pop out this chat here for this. There we go. There's nobody. Why is that showing for me?
Well, anyway, guys, everyone who's been listening to the show religiously has heard from me plenty. How have you two been holding up?
I just got back from Michigan. Amy and I went to Michigan, and it was a beer and beach trip, which I mentioned to Bill, and Bill said he was quite jealous. Which, I did bring back some beer for Bill, but that was fun. Brought back a number of good beers from the Saugatuck Brewery, from Vivian Brewery, Vivian, I think it's called. Went to New Holland Brewery, which which I had a Dragon's Milk, marshmallow dark chocolate, barrel aged. Oh, so good. But they wouldn't let me bring it out of the building. They wouldn't let growlers out or howlers out or anything. So I had to enjoy just a pour there, and had to just tell Bill about it instead of bringing back something.
Bastard.
That was a fun trip though, and that was recent, last week. So, and I was actually, I want to shout. I mentioned this on Twitter, but I wanted to say too that Michigan was okay. On one hand, it was very cool, but also they did a fantastic job as far as making people feel safe during a pandemic. Because I was very leery about going somewhere else during. I'm perfectly fine staying at home and being safe and all that stuff, and do what I'm supposed to do to be a good American, to protect everybody else. But so we went out there and told myself that we're going to be, I'll just make sure social distance, wear a mask, all that good stuff. And man, they were every place we went to was so great about, they were like strict. In a good way, in a very friendly way. They just explained things very nice. All the table service was like, they put tables next to tables. So they put food down and drinks down on a separate table next to yours. And you grab it and bring it over to yours. So you always got that distance, that gap between the servers and stuff. Especially New Holland Brewery, which was fantastic. They did it above and beyond. So tip my cap to Michigan, especially Saugatuck and Holland areas. It was fantastic. Great job. And it wasn't a big deal. Nobody complained. It was very easy and nice. So that was nice. Enjoyed it. And I feel fine. And it's been a week. So I should be all right.
Good.
Yeah.
Bill doesn't sound so good, but I know he looks great for those of you who listen to the podcast and you were wondering.
Well, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I had to live vicariously through Kurt's trip. This is basically throw out the beaches and add golf, and this is the trip that I've been wanting to take for quite a while. So maybe when this pandemic is over, we can put together a golf and Michigan brewery trip.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
But yeah, it's I've just been hunkered down working. Grateful that my job enables me to work 100% from home. Been dealing with an upper respiratory thing that won't go away, but it is not COVID. I have 2 tests to prove it. Actually, we got a third. Julie got one, and it came back negative.
How were the tests? Were they invasive? Were they the deep swab or no?
They were deep swab.
I've seen video.
It was. They did them in the throat, and my expectation was it was the nose, and
yeah,
neither of us had that. So yeah, and it's
okay.
It drive up testing. Weird. Julie went to a CVS to get hers, and they made her swab herself. So
swab herself.
Yeah, completely eliminate their liability.
That seems very that's okay.
Swab yourself. I believe that's the sequel to the original porno of Deep Swab.
You're probably correct.
You swab yourself. Swab yourself is what you do when you can't get the porn stream to work. You just swab yourself.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I've just been hanging out at home. People use the term quarantine all the time. We are actually quarantining. We are not leaving the house unless it is absolutely necessary. We've done the trial subscriptions to all the grocery delivery services, and
if you need me to. When I run to the Schnucks or something, Bill, if you need something, let me know. I can drop it off. I live right down the road from you.
Right. You literally live half a mile from me, but it takes a 2-mile drive to get there.
Yeah, because you got to go around. There's no straight path. But yeah, I get it.
Right.
Yeah, let me know. If you need something, I'll let you know I'm going out. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, we've got this down at this point. We're old pros at quarantine life.
Just saying, offer stands.
I do not make the same offer to you. I'm too far from you. I'm not as
But
good of a
will you
friend.
go back to Michigan and get me more beer?
I can definitely do that. That's no problem.
But if I go back again, I will definitely get you more. I almost wish I had bought more of a certain kind of beer. I'm drinking it tonight. I did. I don't know what I was thinking. It was this. Okay, well, this is a nice segue. Official Beers, episode number 274, sponsored by nobody, but maybe we can get a sponsor for this part of the show. I brought, and I'll go first because I'm gonna do that. I brought back a peanut butter porter, which I've had on the show before, from Saugatuck Brewing. I'll tweet it out later. Too busy right now, but the peanut butter porter is fantastic. And there's 6 packs of this $5. $5. And I only got 2. And I love this beer. I don't know why I only got 2. I was going to get 4. I thought 4 is good. Spend $20 on 24 cans. You can't beat that. But I only got 2. I don't know why I changed my mind. That was dumb. That was a brain fart.
$5 milkshake?
It's pretty fucking good only for $5. Bill, sorry to go first, but that's the first time in history. But
No.
What do you got?
No, that's perfectly fine. I got an empty glass is what I got. Because we're 40 minutes past start time. My first was one of the beers that Kurt so kindly brought back that you can't get outside of Michigan, outside of Founders tap rooms. Fudge Cup chocolate stout. It's really, really good. Deep cocoa and very roasty. Really enjoyed it. When Jeff's done telling you about his beers, I'm gonna go get my second one, which is gonna be French Toast Bastard.
Oh, that was
one that Kurt.
Oh, that's a good one.
They're both really good. I had them both while I was up there. Obviously, it's just they're good. Good stuff. I'm jealous right now. Jeff, what you got?
First of all, Jimmy Anderson wants to know if your drink comes with a tampon. Kurt,
Who? Mine? The peanut butter a porter, a dark ass beer. It's not a fruity ass frou beer. Give me a break, man.
it's not a Bud Light Orange.
What is he drinking? Bush Light. Come on.
I'm sure you've seen Jimmy. He's definitely a Bush guy.
He is a Bush guy. Give me a break. I will beer battle Jimmy anytime. Come on.
By the way, I just want to point out, I told Kurt this a couple weeks ago. I had my first Bud Light Orange ever, just a couple weeks ago, and I did enjoy it. It was good.
I'm never going to. I like Bud Light Orange. I do. Everyone knows that. That knows me. But I'm not. I'm not going to. I have my palate is broad. I guess I like the Bud Light Orange. I also like the peanut butter porters and the French toast barrel aged stuff. It's whatever. Well, except for IPAs and sours. Anything else is I can do.
Okay. Sorry, got a couple of comments here. Budweiser, says Jimmy Anderson. He's a Budweiser guy.
Budweiser's fine.
And okay, so for me, let's go with let me find my can so I can hold it up here. Old Arena Lager, something I've had many times on the show, and here's a little double dose of action. I got the can, and I've got the shirt.
What?
Yeah, baby.
Did you make that? Is that like theft, intellectual theft property that you've done?
Yeah, actually, lager is spelled incorrectly.
Yeah.
No, it's no, I got it from Center Ice.
Lagur. Is that how you spelled it?
Yeah,
Lager.
right. Lager.
It's French.
No, I just love that beer. And again, for anyone who is interested, they are still doing pickup and delivery over at Center Ice Brewery. And obviously, we're all big fans of that place. And I've been getting a lot of beer from them during this whole COVID thing. So it's been good drinking a lot of the Old Arena Lager.
I'm looking forward to watching a game there eventually, whenever things get settled down. Yeah,
they just tweeted out yesterday, day before was their 3rd anniversary.
Yep.
How time flies.
I know.
We were all there that night.
Yeah, that was quite fun.
Ryan Reeves showed up that night because that was right after he was traded, right?
Was that opening night? Opening night,
yeah.
Right? Opening night. Opening night. Well, I was opening night. Reeves was there. Paul Cavallini was there.
Yeah.
I think he was an investor.
Yeah, and who else was
Cam
there?
Jansen
Kurt Price. Kurt
Cam
Price
Jansen
was there.
Kurt Price was there.
Yeah.
Mr. Blues Hat was there. Bill was there.
Yeah.
Angela Sharp was there.
Angela Sharp was there. Also,
She was there.
There was that. What was her name? That kind of the former female college hockey player, kind of a I don't know, a YouTuber now, kind of. She's, I don't know, does a lot of sauce toss commercials and stuff. I don't know.
Are you talking about Beer League Beauty?
Yes, that's her. Yeah, she was there.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. So it was a fun night. It was crowded as hell that night.
Before we get into the meat of the show, I do want to say, holy shit, was it not amazing having some live St. Louis sports back today? Bill, I know you're not a big baseball fan, but man, seeing the Cardinals on today, I mean, yeah, it was weird not having the crowd, but man, it made me more excited for the Blues.
I watched part of the Cardinals game today when I heard it was on. I forgot it was on, but it was nice to see. Spring training or whatever. But before we get too far past the beers of the episode, the Untapped app. So anybody who uses the app Untapped, we're all on there. Jeff just joined today. Bill's been on maybe the longest. I've been on for a few years. I think we tweeted out the usernames. Mine's CPrice12, Jeff says JPound94, and Bill's is Billy Blue Note 33. So if you guys want to friend us up on that social media deal to review beers and stuff, if you're a member of Untapped, to look us up. If you're not, maybe check it out to review beers, and we'll put the beers that we do on the show up there and everything too. So give us our 2 cents on the beers that we drink. So if you care. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account, July 22nd, 2020 was nothing notable apparently, according to Mr. STL Blues History. So we'll do yesterday's.
Well, I'll say that this day 1 year ago, probably at least one of us was drunk, still celebrating from the Blues winning the cup. I mean, that's a safe bet, right?
I mean, it was a month and 10 days after. So
yeah,
something like that. Yeah, it was. That was so much fun. So
that was the summer I'll never forget.
The afterglow.
Although I did forget a lot of it.
The afterglow of winning the cup was pretty amazing. It lasted a long time. It's still there.
We're still the reigning champs, baby.
That's right. What's the? You got your ring handy, Jeff? Mine right there.
Of course, I have it handy.
So if you're watching,
staring at me while I work every day.
Yeah, if you're watching on the YouTube, our real fake Stanley Cup championship rings, real fake rings.
Mm-hmm.
Today in Blues history, courtesy of that STL Blues History Twitter account, we'll do yesterday's January. July 21st, 1996. Wayne Gretzky leaves the St. Louis Blues and signs as a free agent with the New York Rangers. So I wanted to, I don't know, sometimes we talk about these a little more in depth. I thought this would be interesting. I don't know if we've talked about this really on the show, maybe in mentions here and there, but lots of Blues fans were bitter at, Gretzky for a couple things when he was here. For obviously the misplay at center, everybody knows about it, that led to Yzerman's goal in double overtime against the Blues in Game 7 against the Wings, and also for bolting into New York after the season was over, not wanting to deal with Keenan or whatever. So do you like? Are you bitter at Gretzky at all? Or have you ever been bitter at Gretzky? And if you were, did it change after we won the cup?
Well, I was, and I will tell you that the only reason I was immaturity. This was when I was 11 years old. So, I saw him leave. I saw the exterior of, he said he's going to play here forever until he retires, and his wife's from here. So this is a perfect meet. Oh, and he's going to leave 3 months later. Like I saw that as a kid. And I said, yeah, screw Wayne Gretzky. When he came to town, I had no interest in seeing him play. Like, I wasn't like, the Rangers are in town, got to go see Gretzky. Whereas before, when he came with the Oilers or the Kings, it was like, Gretzky's in town. It's a big deal. So I will say at first, yes, I was. But as I've gotten older, I'd say even just a couple of years later, and some of the stories started surfacing of what playing under Mike Keenan was like. I mean, not just from Brett Hall, but from, I mean, just normal guys who were on the roster and with the Blues a long time, and even stayed through the Quinville change. Just hearing the stories about playing for Keenan, it made me say, you know what? Wayne Gretzky, I'm surprised he even like wanted to come here at first, knowing what he probably knew about Mike Keenan. And
and Hall told him not to come here.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. I mean, look at the relationship those two had, Hall and Keenan. So yeah, at first, I was, but I got over that pretty quick. Even before he retired, I think I was already at a point where I was like, yeah, I don't really blame him for what happened. And again, I'm not to tease too much about this Millen interview that we haven't released, but that was one of the things I asked Greg Millen. He played for Mike Keenan in Chicago, the Blackhawks, in, I want to say 92, could be wrong on that, but he played for him, and I asked him what it was like playing for Mike Keenan, and that is the first time in all the years of doing interviews for Let's Go Blues Radio that I've gotten somebody to tell me, I have no comment on that. And I mean, to this day, I mean, you're talking 30 years ago, the guy still doesn't want to talk about playing under Mike Keenan. So that it makes me say what Gretzky did was probably not off from what a normal human being would do.
What you, Bill? Did you ever hold any animosity towards Gretzky for for the misplay at center that led to Yzerman's goal, or leaving to go to New York?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, yeah. How couldn't you? We were so close. But again, it's like Jeff. It was, I was in my teens. I wasn't 11, but I was in my teens, and I was very much, actually, what year was? No, I was 20, and I still had that that hopefulness that he'll stick it out. He came here, we were that close. He's going to come back and he's going to want to do it again. But in hindsight, with the dumpster fire that was the Mike Keenan era, there's no chance in hell he was going to stay here.
I think I didn't. I mean, I think a lot of it's tough because I was so. I guess whenever your team loses, I'm in the Blues. For 50 plus years, they always ended the season or ended the playoffs on a losing note. Before winning the cup last year, so you're always looking for somebody to blame. So why reasoning why this happened, why that happened. So many things happened that playoff year with Kyprios diving on Fuhr's knee and blowing it out, and then Casey doing the best he could to advance the Blues past Toronto, and then played violently against Detroit and just came up short, and then the misplay in overtime, which I've rewatched a million times, like everybody has, and it's just like, oh God, come on. That's I don't know. I guess a play like that's hard for me to get over. And then for him leaving, I wanted him to stay. But then again, on the other hand, him leaving, I mean that a lot. I remember people. I don't know if it was like, people coping with the fact he left as like a defense mechanism, saying, "Oh well, we can." That money's better well spent elsewhere because Gretzky's on the downslope, and we'd be overpaying for him if he stayed and all that stuff. So, I think any animosity I had towards him fizzled after the cup, just because okay, we finally got it. Like a lot of the pains of the past can be kind of just they're eased, and that's just one of them. That's one of 1,000 different pains that Blues fans have had, was Gretzky leaving for whatever reason, which again, like you guys said, I don't blame him because of Keenan and what Keenan did here. Wasn't Keenan fired the next season? Wasn't the next season he was fired? Yeah. So I mean, God, that's such a train wreck because, oh gosh, if you could have just told, I wonder if it would have made a difference. So, you know what, Wayne, we'd rather have you than Keenan. If we fire him, would you want to stay? And
yeah, I mean, because so you got to think, because the rumor is right that well, it's not even a rumor at this point. I think it's fact that Keenan offered him something when he came, and he said, "Yeah, that sounds great." And Keenan said, "Let's sign it at the end of the season," and then reneged and basically said, "Yeah, that's not going to happen."
He took it off the table. Yeah,
took it off the table. And so I think if you fire Keenan at that point and you bring in somebody else and say, "All right, what did he tell you he was going to give you? All right, let's go with that. We'll give you that." I think Gretzky definitely stays. So yeah, just a absolute tire fire with what happened there.
Yeah, it was a cluster. July 21st, 1998, so 2 years after, former St. Louis Blues owner Harry Orness passed away. And the commentary by STL Blues History was, "Thanks for buying the Blues when nobody wanted them. Damn you for letting your wife design the Blues jerseys."
Yep.
Which, if you don't know, Harry Orness' wife, Ruth Orness, designed the Blues jerseys with a Blues wording arched over the Blue Note up top. So, and I think Bruce Affleck called them the worst looking Blues jerseys that they'd had, which is interesting because they do have the clown jerseys in their arsenal. So apparently they are the least favorite of Affleck. So, and Affleck actually, maybe, Affleck called Ornest a carpetbagger too. So maybe he had some kind of personal vendetta or some kind of butting of the heads with Ornest or something. Personal dislike, I guess. But
and I will say about those jerseys, like material wise, they were just awful. It was like really just shitty mesh that you get off the you want to put together a inline tournament team.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And you're buying the cheap jerseys. That's what they always seem like to me. They're just not quality, not NHL quality. So
no. Yeah. So yeah, again, he did save the Blues from moving. I assuming nobody else would have stepped in because it was like 11th hour kind of thing. It'd be interesting to see what would have happened with the Blues if he hadn't stepped in, because the Blues blocked the move to Saskatoon. The NHL, the league blocked the move to the sale to Saskatoon. If Ornest doesn't step in, I wonder what happens. They don't dissolve the team, do they?
Possibly.
I don't know. Maybe, I guess.
That wasn't out of the question back in those days in the NHL.
I guess, but I think, I don't know. That would have been interesting. Well, good on him. The rapid fire tidbits from around the NHL. Player tracking. Remember that player tracking thing that they were talking about, especially around the All-Star game? Kind of showcased it in the All-Star game. All these on-screen graphics and stats and who's on the ice and all that stuff, based on chips on the puck and on the players and all that crap on the ice. I asked Greg Wyshynski today if it's on hold, and he got back with me right away. That's the great thing about Twitter. You ask somebody something, they see it, boom, and he's good about that, getting back with you. So and because I wasn't sure, I wasn't sure if I hadn't heard if that was still on pace to happen in the playoffs because of the pandemic, and he confirmed that it is on hold. Too many extra people would need to be in the buildings, so they pushed it off until next season. What are you guys' thoughts on player tracking? You and some people hate it. Some people hate it to the red hot passion of 1,000 suns, like they did the Fox tracks puck. What do you think about it?
I didn't like it in the sense of, I think it just kind of like they showed the one where it was like there was a tracker. They had the tracker on for all the players, and it was literally like just a scroll across the top of all the players on the rink, and then there'd be a line change. You'd see it change, and that was a little too much. It drew away from the play a little bit, but in terms of using it properly, and maybe like it's something that you use kind of behind the play and say, "Oh, we'll see on this last shift. TJ Oshie had 45 seconds. The shift after that, he was 30 seconds." That kind of stuff. And that definitely interests me. But yeah, when it's like every player's highlighted, no. Maybe you highlight the stars for NBC Sports. Maybe you do the Ovechkin's on the ice. Let's keep the tracker on him. But outside of that, I think could add an element to the game that is positive. But outside of that, I just think too much. It's too distracting.
Yeah. I think that as a data gathering tool, it's a great thing. Like help players get better, help the teams, come up with better analytics. That's great. But as a broadcasting tool, I'm not sold. This is, to me, as a broadcasting tool, they have a big hurdle to get over in not convincing me that this isn't Glow Puck 2.0.
This seems like the way that the NHL has gone, though, over the past, I don't know, so many years. I mean, if you look back in the day, back in the 80s, okay, and we're talking, 25 years ago. But back in the day, you go to a game and the jumbotrons were small, and there wasn't all this, ribbon boards and all these distractions on the ice, around the rink. The focus was really on the ice, right? It was on the game. You went, you watched the game. Now you go, there's all kinds of shit going on there. I mean, the jumbotrons are massive, which is cool. It's really great. It's nice, but at some point you wonder if all this stuff that's going on around you in the arenas, that all these special clubs and pavilions and things and distractions are distracting from the game on the ice. Because if you compare it to a game back in 1984, 86 or whatever, you went to watch the game. Nowadays you go for an entire, I mean, you watch the game, don't get me wrong, you're there for the game, but there's tons of different stuff to get your attention or distract you or to do besides watch the game. And I think this on TV is kind of the same way, in that you used to just turn a game and watch TV. Now you're watching the game, but you've got all these stats. And if you're looking at all these stats, you're not watching the game. Because I think the one of the screenshots I saw had all different kinds of stats at the bottom, who's on the ice, stats up the right side, shots, all this stuff, block shots, whatever. And you're looking at the stats, but you're not really paying as close attention to the game and the play, which I love doing. When I watch games on TV, especially, I'll stand up and I'll get right up in front of the TV and I will just watch the play. I'll watch everything. And if I'm looking and reading stats around the entire frame of the screen, it's kind of like, I'm not watching the game as much. It's harder to analyze the game that way. I think, I don't know. Return to play and the CBA extension. So on July 10th, the NHL and the NHLPA ratified the terms of the return to play plan and also extended the collective bargaining agreement through the 25-26 season. So both the return to play plan and the CBA were tied together and voted on together. So with the return to play, they also had to approve the CBA extension. So if there was to be a playoff hockey this year, the proposed CBA extension had to be agreed upon. I'm not sure if a lot of people knew that. So this is, good news. Happened back on July 10th, as it was, not that long ago before that. It was a lockout seemed like it was looming, kind of like something that people were worried about. But that's now a thing of not anything to worry about until at least 25-26. So according to the CBA and some things that it includes that people might not be aware of, the salary cap will remain at $81.5 million next season, and the players will defer 10% of their salaries. That will be repaid to the players when the league's revenues revive. Players' payment to escrow will be capped at 20% next season and would decline according to the future levels of hockey-related revenues. They'd also, the league and the union also agreed to continue discussing simplified travel by scheduling back-to-back road games in the same city when feasible. That's interesting. And a noteworthy element of the collective bargaining agreement is a commitment from the NHL and the NHLPA to allow players to represent the homelands in the 22-26 Olympics. So if they can reach an agreement with the International Ice Hockey Federation, that would happen. So that's
they will.
Oh yeah, the Olympics.
The International Ice Hockey Federation, if they fight back at all, they're fucking stupid.
Oh yeah, they want them there
because they want the NHL players there.
And that was something I didn't realize. Was that even really mentioned? I didn't hear a bunch about that. That there would be NHL players in the 22 and 26 Olympics, barring this agreement. So that's cool.
There's so much to unfold here, but obviously you hit the big points. The one thing that I do want to mention, obviously, yes, I'm all for players in the Winter Olympics being the best at their sport. And I think obviously the NHL represents the best in hockey, so I'm all for it. But the thing that I feel like just did not get enough credit, because we bitch and moan when there's a lockout looming, when there is a lockout, when there's a strike. I mean, and with every reason. We're fans of the sport. That's, we want to see these teams play. We put our money, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into these teams, and celebrate with them, and we're down with them when they're losing. It's so. But I think it needs to be said, as well as it's said when we're all pissed off at something that's happening, that they extended the CBA. And it seemed like it was almost without a fight. I mean, I'm sure there was a little bit of argument here and there with the escrow and with the salary cap remaining the same. I'm sure there was some battle here and there.
There was,
but for the most part, from what I heard, it was very peaceful. Everybody was understanding. Everybody wanted to reach an agreement. They wanted to extend the CBA. And, obviously we saw preseason baseball return, but at the time when this was all happening, it looked like there wasn't going to be an MLB season. So, yep. And because players just could not agree with the league on what to do with the schedule. And so for the NHL to come out and say, hey, by the way, you remember how we were supposed to have a lockout in a couple of years? Yeah, we fixed that. We pushed it out a couple more years. And I don't think it was stated enough how amazing that was for both sides to come together, come to a solution, and not only to have hockey return to finish out the 2019-2020 season, but to continue out the CBA and get more time in before there's another potential lockout. I commend both sides. Just unbelievable work from both sides to get this done.
The league voted 29-2 in favor of this player. There was a player representative for each team. And it was reported that some of the teams internally, there were close votes as far as whether to approve the whole thing or not. But in the end, 29 teams voted in favor of it, 2 didn't. Jonathan Toews was one of the 2 players reportedly to vote against the NHL return to play and the new CBA. Apparently, I mean, it was all very friendly and everything, but he was very vocal, asked tons of questions, being the good captain that he is. And the Hurricanes were the other team to vote against it as well. So CBA and the RTP plan, return to play plan. So anyway, it's done. Couldn't be happy about the CBA because that's one of those things. Nobody wants a lockout. We went through that in 2005, and it's just a kick in the balls for fans.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it any better. Avoiding another labor stoppage, that was absolutely 100% necessary for the NHL. It's been on a great run, getting lots and lots of media coverage that it hadn't been getting, to have thrown the brakes on it just for the owners to squeeze a little bit more out of the players, that would have been awful. And, you have to wonder, in the players' minds, how much of, the world that we're currently living in, how much did that not weigh on them, to say, are we actually going to, come off as whiny bitches about, money when so many people are just completely out of work and, don't have any prospects. I imagine that played somewhat into it, but definitely happy as can be that we finally have labor peace in the NHL in our lifetimes.
Darren Dreger tweeted out the NHL will host a virtual media conference Thursday in Edmonton. Everything related to the bubble will be unveiled. Hotels, player rooms, amenities, restaurants, access points to the hub will all be explained in a press conference on Thursday. So that'll be interesting.
I don't remember. Oh boy. We talked about it earlier, but whoever it was that wrote the article for The Athletic that kind of already gave you an idea of what players can expect and what we're going to see with these guys, the entertainment they're going to get. the hotels they'll be staying in Edmonton. It was outlined in The Athletic, and I know St. Louis's own Jeremy Rutherford contributed to the article as well. That was a great post, and it kind of gave us an idea of what to expect from what these players' lives are going to be like for the next couple months. I mean, you got to figure this is going to go until October, and they're quarantined together, same teams in the same hotel, including Edmonton, by the way. For those that have wondered if Edmonton's getting any kind of an advantage, they're staying in the hotels too. And one of the things that I read today was that there's only so many. So Rexall Place, right? Is that the name of that's the name of the arena in Edmonton, right? Rexall Place. Is that no? Maybe?
That's the old building.
It's Rogers.
Rogers. It's Rogers.
Rogers. Yeah. So Rogers has a hotel attached, and the problem is you can't fit all the Western Conference teams that are going to be there in that. So they said, what are we going to do then? We need to rent out 2 other hotels to fit all these teams and the personnel and the broadcasters and everything. Everybody's going to be there. So the NHL decided the teams with the top 6 points are going to be the top 6 teams are going to be in this hotel. I think it's a Marriott that's attached to the Rogers. So,
yep.
It's kind of nice because you could easily say, well, Edmonton should get it because they had to finish top 6 in the West in points, and I think that's a nice thing for the NHL to do to again kind of provide teams that deserve a little bit of an advantage.
Thank you for finishing better in the standings. Right?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a home ice advantage for any team, so give them something. I forgot about the Greg Button. Craig Button laughing at one of Bill's comments on Twitter. I just remember that. That was in a discussion we had about. It was a Pietrangelo interview where Button basically said that because Parayko's name came up, and he said that Parayko is not a Norris, will never be a Norris caliber defenseman, which a lot of Blues fans and other fans took issue with that because that's a kind of a weird futuristic blanket statement to make for a defenseman that has all the tools to be a Norris caliber defenseman once he fully develops. So that's because he's fast. He's fantastic with the puck. He's got an amazing shot. He's fantastic defensively. So I don't know. I'm very curious as to why. I mean, and then I think, what'd you say, Bill? You said he might have something against Parayko because he let him off the roster for his team candidate picks.
Yeah. Yeah. Dougie Hamilton was a lock for a top 4.
Yeah. But Parayko's left off, and then you asked if he had something against Parayko, and then he just laughs at you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do you want people to think?
Somebody responded. I saw somebody respond that said that Dougie Hamilton was not even arguably better than Colton Parayko. And I'm like, really? Then how come he can't find an NHL team that wants to keep him for longer than 2 years?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me. Parayko, to me, is an elite talent that I'm so ecstatic to have. I mean, he's. Right. I've always said he reminds me of Pronger without the meanness.
Yeah, no. If Parayko or if Pietrangelo leaves, we have Parayko to fall back on. And where I get pissed off is then Justin Falk's our second choice, but it depends on which Justin Falk it is, right?
Yeah. And I've said Justin Falk, he's got a rebound, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the whole thing with Button, it's more, like I said, highlight of my summer to be for him to laugh at my comment like he did, but how do you not value Colton Parayko as an elite defenseman in the NHL this year? And the discussion that we had offline about it is probably because Button prides himself as so knowledgeable about the great Canadian game, but he and his brother both missed him, as did 99%
Right.
of the other scouts in hockey. I mean, the Blues and the Blackhawks were in on him, and the Blues beat the Hawks to the punch.
It's one thing to say that Parayko won't be a Norris caliber defenseman, because I mean that's top three. I mean there's not room for a lot of guys, and it's, I mean, to say that he'll never even sniff that is interesting, but then to say that he can't make Team Canada, Jesus Christ! I mean that's a much bigger a roster to make. That's not an elite three. You're talking 9, 12 guys they're considering, and to not be on that, just Canadian players. It's like, what the hell? So I don't know. It's puzzling to me.
If you go into that thread though, and I should have linked it, the depth that they go into for the Canadian picks, it goes like they were all the way down to 12 to 13 defensemen getting invites to camp, and who's the one rookie from Colorado, not Cale Makar, because Cale Makar was in his top 4. Ryan Graves, he was there ahead of Parayko. I mean, there were so many people, and I get it. They're not basing it on overall talent. They're trying to slot matchups and get really in depth at it. But come on, Parayko versus Dougie Hamilton. Sorry. I just
former GM, right?
We'll never win.
Right. Former GM and current TSN analyst, right? Craig Button.
Yeah. I don't know that he was a former GM.
I thought he was. Was he former GM?
Assistant GM in Calgary.
Assistant GM. Okay, sorry.
Well, we know why he wasn't a GM then, obviously.
Right. Missing on picks like Parayko. I mean, what do you want from a guy? No, I think a lot of people were on your side, Bill. And that just these national guys, the hockey guys, but they're national guys. They don't spend a lot of time. They can't watch every game. They can't watch all the players. They're going by reports and stats and what people say. Guys like us, okay, who we're specific. I mean, we follow the NHL. We watch a lot of games, different teams, but we focus primarily on the Blues are broadcast here. That's all those. We watch those games. I do anyway. I watch all of them, like you guys do, and so I feel like that we're more well versed in analyzing Blues players than a lot of the national guys are, because they don't watch them. I mean, they're going by what other people say. So I think that accounts for something, or explains part of why he's, national guys may miss out on flyover country players like Parayko.
I'll add that last summer I did that Behind Enemy Lines series where I talked to somebody from different team every week. I had somebody from a different team on, and I can't tell you how many people, when we were off air just kind of discussing our teams, how many people said, "Man, I wish I could get a Colton Parayko on my roster."
Yeah,
and I had so many people compliment him, like, I can't believe he's not on your top pairing. He's on your second pairing. That's ridiculous. And well, it's like it's an embarrassment of riches.
No, and it's like, I mean, it's funny because people would say, I think it was in that thread or a different thread or whatever, that on Twitter, that, Parayko's, not even in your top pairing. I'm like, that's because you don't always put your best 2 defensemen on the top pair. Just because a guy plays on the second pairing doesn't mean he's a 4th best defenseman on your team. That's absurd. I mean, it's always notable when Crosby and Malcolm would play on the same line, right? They switch it up, try and generate some offense, or did McInnes and Pronger play on the same line? No, they didn't.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. You have 2 Hall of Fame defensemen on your lineup in the early 2000s, and 90% of the games, one of them was on your second pairing.
Now you might pair them together if you want to, at the last minute of the game, trying to tie it up or whatever, something like that. Change it up, but typically no. You spread the wealth around, so you're strong. You've got either the Blues had a wealth of riches. They had Pronger playing 30 minutes, McInnes playing almost as much. They had either him or McInnes out on the ice the entire game, almost. So that's the reason.
You're seeing it. I mean, you're almost seeing that again. Now, granted, The Blues also have a couple other guys that can step up and play good. But I mean, right now, you can see you could do that. You could play Pietrangelo and Parayko 30 minutes a night and have one of them out there at all times if you really needed to. They can handle it.
Pietrangelo plays about 24, 25 minutes a game, something like that.
25.
Yeah. And Parayko plays about that. And in the playoffs last season, I think I had a discussion on Twitter with it's like, Parayko, I would love to have a discussion about Parayko being our best defenseman right now. He led the Blues in ice time defenseman in playoffs last year. I mean, in the Stanley Cup final and in the conference finals. So the last 2 rounds of the playoffs, he led the Blues in ice time. I mean, you got in the most important games of the season, your best players play the most, right? I mean, that's a really, general statement, but there's something there. So, and the last tidbit for around the NHL, NHL TV is only $5 right now. So if you want to get, that's a good deal, very good deal. But the thing is that you're going to watch all the games on NBC anyway. I mean, you can't watch the live games there really because they're going to be broadcast, right? But in the offseason,
let me ask you this, because I bitched about this recently on this show, that when the COVID thing started and they released it for free, you couldn't get games prior to this season. Does that $5 include all previous years too?
I don't know.
If it does, that is well worth it. So you can watch all last year's playoffs.
I'm a subscriber, and it automatically renews every year. So I wonder if it. I mean, I'm currently a subscriber, so if I log in right now, do I get?
I know that before you told me you still got them.
Yeah,
I tried to sign up post COVID, and it said you can't sign up right now. Everything's free anyway. But I'm like, yeah, but I want the games from last year. I don't care about this year.
So
it still wouldn't let me sign up.
Yeah, June 12th.
No, I think you still get them.
I'm looking at June. Right now. I'm logged in. June 12th, St. Louis versus Boston, Game 7. I can watch it.
Tell you what, I'm going to go on there right now. I'm going to buy it, and I will let you know if I get the previous games.
Look at you spending $5 for the information
for the show. For the listeners. This is all for you guys. I would do anything for you listeners, and I'm proving it right now.
Somebody send Joe a milkshake that he can't buy now.
Right. It's a $5 shake. So as far as return to play goes in the NHL, so while Jeff looks that up, will you see NHL players kneeling during the anthem? What do you think? The question was posed today on Cardinals Twitter. The question was on Cardinals Twitter today if fans thought any Cardinals players would kneel during the anthem. But so what about the NHL? What do you think?
Somebody will.
I think somebody will. I think it's a given. Some players will. I mean, it's a question of how many.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw how many players came out against what happened to George Floyd. I mean, they came out against that more than anything I've seen.
Yeah. And if you could just be, kneeling just to protest that situation. And was it 99.9% of the people polled or, thought that was appalling. So, I mean, we'll see. I think if people are going to get upset about the kneeling, I think they're going to be upset at a lot of professional sports because I think a lot of people are going to be doing it. A lot of people in baseball, football especially. So,
hell, did you see the Red Sox tonight at Fenway Park put up Black Lives Matter in Red Sox lettering outside the Green Monster? It's been all over my Twitter feed all night, just because the comments are what you'd expect in a dumpster fire. But if the Red Sox are going to do that, then at this point, I think it's definitely, with everything that's changed on the professional sports landscape, from Roger Goodell, shifting course in the Washington NFL franchise, because you don't say the name anymore because they're changing it. Thank God.
It was a slur.
Actually, I've got the little inside information. The new Washington team, their name is going to be Teamy McTeamy Faces.
Nice. Redskins. It was a slur. I mean, it's long overdue. I mean,
Right.
So I mean,
Right. And the Blackhawks have their backstory that it's, a tribute to Chief Blackhawk, and they can defend that.
well, but you know what? So
But
was Chief the Illini in Illinois. It was
right.
Chief Linowek. It was the exact same thing actually. It was a tribute to Chief Linowek, and it was their halftime dance was done. Apparently, they tried to do it respectfully and all that stuff, and authentically or whatever. So I'm told. But they were pressured to change their mascot. So,
Well, let me ask you guys, and real quick, I'll add that I just bought NHL TV, the $5, and I was able to get Game 7 of last year. So it is good to get previous games. So I think that is worth it right there, $5. NHL TV, if you'd like to sponsor Let's Go Blues Radio, make sure you reach out to us at radio.letsgoblues.com. But anyway, but we're doing free promotion for you anyway, so I don't know why you would. But no, I got in an argument with my wife about this. I told her I agree. Redskins need to change. Indians, gray area for me, maybe. Blackhawks, I felt like when it comes to the Blackhawks, and again, argue me if you like, I feel like the name it symbolizes a lot of the military group. So I have no problem with the name, but I will say that the logo probably should change. And she said she disagrees. She thinks the name should change too. So what do you guys think?
You know what? I think if do I think it would what I think should happen or what I think will happen?
What do you think should happen?
I think based on what's going on with the Redskins, I think what happened with University of Illinois, and I think
don't forget about the Fighting Sioux as well.
The Fighting Sioux,
Right.
And the Redmen of now the Red Storm. That was years ago though. That was a long time ago. They changed. What college was that? Redmen. Now the Red Storm. Shoot, I think it was upper Midwest or maybe it was Pacific Northwest. I think they should change it. Logo and name. I do. I mean, and if people want to disagree with me, that's fine. I mean, it's a debate, and I can understand both sides of it. I'm not trying to be political here and play both sides of the fence, but people can make good arguments for both sides. But I think in the end, with the way things are going, I think it's the right thing to do is to change it. Up to you, Bill.
How about Bill? What do you think?
I don't think they will. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that.
It's so hard, isn't it?
It is.
Now that's a different question.
I think
whether they should or whether they will. I don't think they will. I think they should.
Right.
I don't think they will.
The ethical question. I'm glad I'm not the guy that has to make the decision. I'll tell
You're right.
you that.
I know.
It's just it's.
It's a very hard thing to put into words.
It really is. I mean, just there's. You don't want to make the tradition argument because the Native American tradition trumps any I don't care that it's an original 6 hockey franchise that's been around forever in
Right.
the relative terms of the National Hockey League, but you definitely can't make the argument that that it's so much tradition. I don't know. Maybe they should just go ahead and change it to the Chicago Chelsea Daggers. Just be
No.
It's. I mean,
How about the Chicago Pussies? That would probably be just as bad.
the Southside Killers.
the Chicago.
Southside
No, we're not even going to go there. With what's going on right now.
No, yeah.
They could just follow,
to the Chicago cab driver bitch slaps.
There you go. They could just follow Freeburg High School there in Illinois, right?
Right. Do the midgets, the Chicago
The
midgets. How about the Windy City? How about the Windy City bitch pigeons?
Yeah.
Ooh, I love it.
Well,
I'd love it. There are a lot of pigeons in Chicago.
There's a chance for us to get out of this uncomfortable conversation and segue right into Seattle tomorrow. The announcement.
Yeah. Oh, is that tomorrow? I did completely.
It is.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay, good.
9 a.m. Pacific, which is like 7
Show
o'clock
Topics
p.m. here.
channel.
It's what, Bill?
I put it in the Show Topics channel tonight.
Oh.
You ignored it.
Okay. I missed that, I guess. Sorry.
He only pays attention to me, Bill. So
No,
sorry, buddy.
Apparently,
I did see it. No, it was was it a video you posted?
yeah.
That's why, because I was getting rid of my computer and I saw the video and I didn't watch it. Sorry.
Those aren't the kind of videos that Kurt likes to watch.
No, we talked about that before the show.
Yeah. Based on the video, I will say that it's either going to be the Kraken or the Sockeye.
The Seattle Sockeye has a nice ring to it. I think the Seattle Kraken would be a much cooler imagery.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've said this in the show before. My only worry with Kraken is fans are going to call themselves the Crackheads, which is awesome, but the NHL is not going to embrace it, which is going to be a problem. Like, I would love to be able to see, like, come join the Crackheads. And it's just, we're not going to be able to see that because there's no way the NHL will ever allow it.
Did you just come up with that, or is that like a thing on social media that they're doing?
Maybe I came up with it. I don't know. I just know that the minute I heard Kraken, I'm like, oh, the fans should call themselves the Crackheads.
Well, now since I love anarchy, I want to see what happens with the fans that call themselves the Crackheads and how that goes over. I'd love to see that.
That would be amazing, dude. I would love to meet the fans that call themselves the Crackheads.
Ryan O'Reilly is a finalist for the Lady Byng and the Selke trophies this year. Other finalists for Lady Byng are Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews. Other finalists for the Selke, Patrice Bergeron and Sean Courtier. I can't talk. Couturier.
Couturier. That's okay, Kurt.
Bergeron, Couturier.
That's okay, Kurt. I just finished my first beer too.
I gotta start my second. That's the problem. I've only had one beer. O'Reilly is the first Blues player to be a Selke finalist multiple times, and he's only been with the team for 2 seasons. Other Blues finalists for the Selke include Larry Patey, Rick Mahar, Esa Tikkanen. I love Tikkanen. So much fun. Craig Conroy, Michael Hanzus, David Backus, and now Ryan O'Reilly. So congratulations.
Well, Ryan O'Reilly twice. Yeah.
Twice. Yes.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, and this is just a dumb little comment, when I started watching hockey, my dad telling me, because I wanted to be a right wing when I first started playing, and he was like, you need to watch this guy, Rick Mahar, because he is an excellent two-way player.
He
That's
checks
the
for a
kind of
living.
player you need to be.
He checks for a living.
Oh, yes, he does check for a living. You're right. But no, and he was it Bomberito commercial? He used to do as well?
I believe that was it. I believe that was the Bomberito commercial. Was the I checked for a living, and then when he retired, left St. Louis or retired when he retired, he changed it to I checked for a living.
I checked for a living. Yeah. But no, that's hey man, that's amazing. Ryan O'Reilly. I know we've joked all the time about how we just stole him from Buffalo. Is that a Bud Light Orange, sir?
It is.
Nice.
It's my beer number 2. Well,
nice.
I was trying to decide what I want to follow up my peanut butter porter with, and I had some shandies in the fridge and other stuff, and I'm like,
you gotta go something lighter.
Something lighter.
You gotta go something lighter. Yeah, I hear you. But no, Ryan O'Reilly. This is my goodness, that's fantastic. He's just I broke down a play last year, and for anyone who remembers it, the overtime goal that gave the Blues their longest winning streak in history, 11 games. Go back and watch that goal because he breaks up a defensive play, goes down the ice, and scores the big game winner. And that's the kind of stuff we see from Ryan O'Reilly. I don't want to say that specific play on a consistent basis, but my God, he is just been a revelation for the Blues, and to see him get rewarded again as one of the best two-way players in the game it's well worth it. Well deserved.
Yeah, I think that play was actually used in the NHL's official highlight video for the announcement of who was nominated. This is against the Wild, right?
I thought it was the one against the Maple Leafs is the one I was quoting.
Yeah, Maple Leafs was the overtime winner for the win streak.
Was that the previous season, not this last season?
Yeah, no, right.
Yeah, yes,
the 11-game win streak.
Wild. Yeah, he did it against the Wild this year. And
I mean, you could just point to any goddamn game, and the dude does it every night. It's just he's unbelievable.
He's definitely my favorite player in recent memory for the Blues. There are two more jerseys that I want to get from last year: the Bennington white away jersey and the O'Reilly home jersey with the Stanley Cup Finals badge,
and the Vladimir Turkin 2001 jersey.
Chubby turkey.
That goes without saying.
So the Norris Trophy finalists, not surprisingly, the three finalists were the top three defensive point getters. John Carlson with Washington with 75 points, Roman Josi, Nashville with 65 points, and Victor Hedman, Tampa Bay with 55 points. There was some talk. A lot of people felt that Pietrangelo was snubbed in his for consideration for the Norris Trophy and being a finalist. So what do you guys think? Was he snubbed, or did the three guys that were nominated beat him out fair and square?
It's gonna go to probably John Carlson. So we don't have it listed here on the outline that we actually do have an outline we follow, folks. We don't just come up with this off the cuff. There's another award that's not on here that I would love to talk about, and that would be Jack Adams. We'll get to that in a minute.
Oh yeah.
But you can say Pietrangelo was snubbed, and it's hard to argue against it because he's been so good defensively. But I mean, just look at the last 10, 15, 20 years. It's always the top 3 to 4 or 3 of the top 4 or whatever point scorers that get nominated for the Norris. I mean, there was a year where Chris Letang nominee and played some of the worst defensive hockey I've seen in a long time.
Carlson.
It's just
Carlson for Ottawa when he won the Norris. He didn't kill penalties. How can you?
Yeah, he was a penalty killer.
How can you win a defensive, best overall defenseman award when you don't even kill penalties? When your team is in defensive mode and you need your best defensive players out there, and you aren't out there. I mean, I agree with you that the award has been offensive minded for a long time back. I mean, Blake beat out Pronger when Pronger was by far the better defenseman, and Blake beat him out because he had more points. He had 15 more points than Pronger did, something like that.
The last true defensive defenseman to win the award was Rob Langway back in late 80s, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying any of the guys that have won it since haven't been deserving, but It's that they have to put up the offensive numbers too.
Pronger was a plus 47, and Blake was a minus 3 the year that Blake won. There's a 50-point difference. Pronger had, you can condemn plus minus for the stat that it is, whatever, but still, with that said, 50-point difference in plus minus. And Blake beat him out.
I'd love to see his Corsi for that year. I would love to see it.
Pronger's or Blake's?
Yeah. Well, both, but Pronger's mostly.
And Pronger won it 2 years later. The reason why he put up more points. He put up it was 60 points that year.
78. 78 was Brown. That was Brown.
No, he put up 50.
60,
he put up
62, I think. I could be wrong. I'm going to look it up.
Maybe. Yeah, I think you're right. Something like that.
I'm going to say 62. That's my number.
But either way, he had to put up more points offensively to get the defensive award. So that was and everyone knows it. So, as far as him being snubbed, I don't
52. 52 points.
Yeah, I don't think he was snubbed. I think based
No, wait, I'm sorry. It was 62. His plus minus was 52.
All right. So, based on, even if it was just a defenseman award, Pietrangelo, he doesn't win it there either. So, I mean, he's not the top 3 defensive defensemen in the league. He's not the top 3 offensive defensemen in the league. He's a nice balance between the two, but he's 6th in points, so he's not in the top 3 in points. I mean, Carlson puts up 75 points. That's crazy. That's pretty good.
Well, and what shows me is the fact that, like, Shea Weber, so many years in Nashville, was outstanding. I mean, Blues fans can tell you how annoying he was to play against. And then he goes to Montreal, and all of a sudden people are like, whoa, this guy has really stepped his game up. He should be a Norris finalist. And it's like, well, yeah, you're noticing him now because he's in Montreal, because he's not in Nashville. When he was in Nashville, he was doing the same shit. There's nothing different about his game. It's the fact that you're seeing him more because it's the Eastern Conference guys that vote mostly on these awards. They see the Eastern Conference games. So, you know, it's good to see a guy like Roman Josi get in there, as much as we want to hate him here in St. Louis. But it's that East Coast bias. It's you're going to see those guys always get nominated before anybody, especially, I mean, we bitch here in the Midwest, but I mean, the West Coast is even more screwed than us.
Was that Bill's a Habs fan? Big one. Was that a good trade for Montreal? Subban for Weber? You're muted, Bill. What's wrong? Oh, there you go.
Why are you muted?
I laughed. There was a guffaw. Probably my best sound moment that we've ever had, and we'll never hear it. No, that was the moment that Mark Bergevin died to me. And you know, it was just that was to me, that gutted any soul that the Canadians had left. I mean, yeah, there's Carey Price has it, but I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but the Habs are one of these teams that made the playoffs because of the expanded format, and they really shouldn't be there. Yesterday, during scrimmage or during just a practice, Weber hit Carey Price in the head with one of his 100+ mile per hour slap shots in warm up to go to Edmonton or to go to Toronto. What a fucking idiot!
He Chris Schmiedered it.
Yeah. Yep.
Chris Schmieder, the former teammate of ours growing up, was notorious for high warm-up shots on the goalies.
Yeah. When I saw that, John Liu tweeted that out yesterday, I lost my shit. I mean, the Canadians have no reason to be there, and as a Habs fan, I hope that they don't make it through, and they're the team that winds up with the top overall pick, because that's just crazy.
I wonder,
because Alexis Lafreniere is the number 1 pick. Montreal's been wanting for years to have that, the top French Canadian player go there. But God.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I wonder how much the conspiracy theorists are coming out and saying Mark Bergevin put Shea Weber up to it. Said, hey, take out our top goalie so that way we can get this guy in the draft, since we have a chance at it.
That guy had the nerve to put out the heartfelt video about how hard it was to leave, his family in British Columbia and come back to play in a tournament that we have no right to be in. Put him down, man. Put him down.
Speaking of Montreal, I was looking up stats today about various things preparing for the show. Do you know who, and I think I have this right, do you know who leads the league in the metrics for puck possession on the ice for your team while you're on the ice? So the percentage of the time that your team has the puck while you're on the ice, who leads the league in that? And it's someone on Montreal, obviously. I just said so when this man's on the ice, no, it's not Weber. When this man's on the ice, their team controls the puck like 60% of the time.
My guess is going to be Max Domi.
Brendan Gallagher.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like a fluky stat kind of a thing, but I saw that. I'm like, huh, is that right?
Yeah,
Patrick
he's,
Berglund always
he's
led in
only-
that stat for the Blues.
Yeah, Gallagher's only got another year left on his contract. I don't know that he's going to stick around Montreal for that. He's the kind of guy that you absolutely hate him if he's not on your team. So,
oh God, yeah.
I think he would fit in very well in Vancouver because they seem to have a lot of those guys, and he's a Vancouver guy.
He's kind of like a Andrew Shaw with talent, I guess, right?
Yes,
Shaw.
yeah. If there's one redeeming quality about Marc Bergevin is that after he traded for Shaw, he traded him away again. That
I want to, again, before we move on here, talking about Blues training camp, which we'll get to in a second, I just want to say I think it's complete crap, the Jack Adams Award. I don't normally get up in arms about these awards because I know it's, again, there's the East Coast bias, but the team that lost the Stanley Cup final, and yes, they won the President's Trophy.
Barely.
But that guy gets to win. He gets a chance at the Jack Adams Award. And I'll say, last year, I actually agreed, and I was one of the few in St. Louis that agreed that Berube didn't deserve it only because he didn't put in a full 82-game season. This year, I mean, again, not a full 82 games technically, but the adversity this team faced. I mean, first of all, you have to mold in a new defenseman in Justin Falk to play big minutes. You have a number one goalie that you're still, even though after winning the Stanley Cup, you still come in saying, maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with this guy?
And he wasn't as good this year.
And Vladimir Tarasenko, your number one offensive threat, going down and still putting up the offensive numbers this team did, still putting up everything they put up. I mean, no Stanley Cup hangover.
Top spot in the West.
Yeah.
Top spot in the West. And again, this team was a question mark heading into the season to a lot of people. Like, yes, they won the Stanley Cup, but it was a tale of two different teams in 2018, 2019. So 2019-20, it was, which Blues are we going to get? Guess what? For 70 games, we got the Blues that we saw win the Stanley Cup. And that has to do with the head coach. He deserves at least a shot to win Best Coach of the Year because the way he was able to get these guys to rally every game and still put out their best foot every single night.
It's interesting, too, because all the three nominees, Bruce Cassidy, John Tortorella, and Alain Vigneault, all Eastern Conference guys, too. So the Western Conference got snubbed. Really, and for all the reasons you mentioned, Jeff, I agree with you. It's kind of a joke that Berube is not in there. Replacing maybe Vigneault, maybe, or I don't know. Yeah.
That to me, that is the ultimate East Coast bias. The guy goes from the Rangers where he just overstayed his welcome to Philly, and Philly has always had enough talent to make it. They've just been underachievers. It's a good story, but not better than the Berube story.
No,
not at all. And again, I know that we're Blues guys saying this, but I mean, I think anyone in the NHL, you make that claim to them, and they would say, yeah, he probably at least deserves a shot at it. And the fact that he didn't get enough votes for that is laughable.
So training camp opened on July 13th around the NHL, and Vince Dunn has been out. He was on the ice as the team returned to practice Tuesday after taking Monday off. Dunn has been out since at least Thursday with what is assumed to be a positive COVID-19 test. So the team is prevented from commenting on it. The team cannot release or talk about what players test positive. The league only releases number of total positive cases, not from which team or who they are. Berube said there was no update on Dunn's situation. Steen is day-to-day. According to Jeremy Rutherford, Steen didn't scrimmage today. Berube said he is day-to-day. But aren't we all? Berube acted like it was no big deal, so just rehab stuff. Barbashev.
And I'll add real quick. there's two positive tests in the NHL.
Over 800 players.
And that's insane. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say I told you so, but for anyone to listen, I don't remember what episode it was, but when the Blues shut down their camp, I said that I think, as morbid as it sounds, that this was kind of part of their plan. Phase 2, let's just see who gets it. And if you get it, we got plenty of time before phase 3. And let's just hope we don't get any positive tests during phase 3. Well, now we're seeing we're seeing so many negative tests in the NHL, and I think it has a lot to do with this whole like stretched out plan the NHL's had. And again, I commend them for what they've done because, Vince Dunn might be one of those two guys to have it, and it's a complete possibility, and wouldn't surprise me. But the fact that there's only 2 in the entire NHL, and there's only been 2, I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong here, I believe there's only been 2 positive tests in all of professional sports in the past week, and they both were in the NHL. I could be wrong on that.
I thought there was in the past week.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. I know there was quite a few positive before that. In the NHL
before
alone.
That, yes.
In the NHL alone, there was a number of them.
Hell, the NBA. I mean, the one asshole that shut down all of professional sports in North America, right? The guy from
we talked about that.
Oh, fuck that guy. I'm glad I already forgot his name.
Barbashev will miss some time. He's going to leave. I guess they planned this, but didn't plan on the coronavirus. He'll be leaving the bubble to be with his wife for the birth of his child, and will miss 1 or 2 round robin games and possibly the start of the first round. Barbashev isn't practicing much with the regulars. Berube said he wants to get other players some time in his slot since they'll be filling in for him. Barbashev returns to the bubble in Edmonton from St. Louis. He will have to be in isolation until he tests negative for COVID-19 4 times in 4 days. So that's what I was talking about earlier. So when he returns, he has to test negative 4 times in 4 days. So that will likely mean he would be out for at least a week, and then the NHL has the option to keep him out longer if he's deemed to have been in a dangerous situation, whatever that means. So best case scenario is he could miss the second and third round robin games and be back for the round of 16. So prior to...
And again, dude, how shitty is that? You know that a part of him planned, like, hey, if we want to have a kid, if this was planned, which I, most imagine it was, let's make sure our kid's born at the end of July, beginning of August, and we won't have any problems.
Right in the middle of the offseason, it's no big deal.
Good Lord, that is so shitty. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah. I mean,
I could be home with you for a month and a half before training camp.
Yeah.
All good.
Yep.
Well, depending on how the play goes for the Blues, he might be back in 10 days, so or 2 weeks. So hopefully it doesn't happen that way, but we'll see. So prior to traveling to the 2 hub cities, all NHL players need 3 negative tests spaced 48 hours apart in the 7 days prior to travel. So any positive tests after Wednesday or Thursday this week, so after today, any positive tests, they won't hit that mark. So we could be talking about players left behind and out of the bubble until they're cleared. So players who do test positive will likely be retested immediately to rule out false positives. So in the last round of testing, 2 players tested positive, we just talked about, out of 800 tests given at training camps since July 13th. So,
sorry for jumping the gun there, but
no,
that is unbelievable. I think the NHL has approached this so well, and it's really helped this whole return to play thing go smoothly because the NHL's handled it correctly. 800
players, and which covers 2,618 tests. So only 2 positives out of that.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Impressive. Well done, fellas. Except for you, Vince Dunn.
Yeah, right.
So returning to play. So an exhibition game versus the Blackhawks on July 29th in the Bubble City in Edmonton will be televised on Fox Sports Midwest. Looking forward to that.
That is 1 week. 1 week.
1 week.
from
I know
today.
it's almost here, and that's true. That's true. And we may have a show during the game or after the game or something. Maybe we'll do a post game show.
I was just going to say that post game show would be awesome.
And it's an early game. It's a 5:30 game, Central Time, right? Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. No,
That's
I'm
right.
sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
That's I'm thinking round robin games, so I'm not sure what time the exhibition game is.
Yeah.
If it's a 5:30 game, post game show. The playoffs.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, well, you do that. August 1st, the play-in round starts for the NHL, and August 2nd, the round robins for seeding starts, and the Blues will play Colorado at 5:30 p.m. on August 2nd. So the Blues will have games on August 2nd, 6th, and 9th to determine seeding.
5:30 is correct. That's the time the Blues will play the Blackhawks next Wednesday.
So I guess we should tentatively plan on a post-game show that game.
Let's do it. I mean, why not? We'll start 8 o'clock even.
Well, it'll be over, and the game will be over with 8-ish.
That's what I'm saying.
15.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whenever we can work it out. The first round series will likely begin on August 11th, and NBC Sports will have – this is what I'm kind of excited about personally.
Yes.
Oh, my God. So NBC Sports will have 10-plus hours of game coverage every day, August 1st through 5th, beginning at 11 a.m. So they're going to have like three games back to back to back.
So the Blues had a partner meeting with basically all their sponsors, and I heard a little bit of it. And the very beginning, because you got to figure there's a lot of people on the call who probably don't watch hockey or pay attention to professional sports. And the way they described it was, imagine the first round of the NCAA tournament. That's what it's going to be, because they're going to have so much coverage of hockey. And for fans like me and you, you can't see, but I work in this spot right here. This is where I work every day. Literally, let me get my finger here. Right over here, I've got a TV. And that TV is going to be playing hockey all the time. And I am so excited about that.
It is actually, this is a nice time to work from home, because
yes, it is.
I mean, granted, you could stream stuff at work too, I guess, work permitting, but being at home, it's a lot easier to put the TV on and have it on the background or whatever. It's just gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I've got TV right above my monitor here. The NBC Sports has been doing very similar things with that broadcast schedule much earlier in the day for Premier League. So, there have been a couple days that, after, I get done with morning meetings and that, I'll just put on NBCSN and, there'll be soccer on my TV for several hours. And it's been great. Turn that into hockey, and oh my God, my life is that much better.
It's going to be nice.
And I'm also going to be taking some time off during that first week. So, without anywhere to go, I'm probably going to gain 25 pounds just sitting on my couch while start eating cereal, finish up drinking beer and eating Doritos by the end of the night. It's going to be a mess.
What are you going to pair with the Doritos, Bill? What beer goes with Doritos?
Dots and Loops IPA by Surly.
Okay.
It used to be, I swear to God, Red Hook ESB. That used to be my Doritos pair with.
Really? ESB?
Not like Fuller's. Not like traditional Fuller's ESB, which I know we had a picture of that.
That was Schlafly.
Was it Schlafly? Whatever.
Yeah.
We had it in Stagger. It was all
it was
Red
terrible.
Hook ESB, much different. Pairs very well with Doritos. But now, Dots and Loops IPA. Fruity IPA by Surly.
All right. I had an extra special bitter one time, and that was at Stagger with you, and it was the worst beer I've ever had. It was terrible.
Fucking awful.
It was awful. So Jeff, you on your second beer there? I saw you pouring the
second,
third, fourth. How many you got there?
Oh my! Come on here.
You got to drink them. You got to drink them before they go bad. That's true.
I'm on my fourth, boys.
What you do is you open them all at the same time. It forces you to drink them all.
That's true. That's an excellent point.
They'll go flat. Yeah, for you kids at home, that's how you drink a lot of beer. You don't open all 4 beers at the same time, forces you to drink them all.
This is the kind of stuff you can learn at Let's Go Blues Radio.
Right. Yes. So let's see, Saturday NHL doubleheader on August 1st on NBC. Blackhawks and Oilers at 3 p.m., followed by the Canadiens and Penguins at 7. Anyway, a bunch of information about coverage, tons of coverage. More 25 games on MSNBC in a 7-day span. 4 exhibition games begin on July 28th, which Blues are one of them. Coming up here, I guess. Yeah. Blues games on NBCSN will be blacked out because they'll be available on Fox Sports Midwest, which is going to suck for those on Dish Network and some of the streaming services that are still having a conflict with money about airing that channel, which is absurd. It's been that way for a long time.
I honestly is I'm not trying to sound elitist here, but like I see that kind of stuff and I'm like, I am so glad that I stopped using cable or satellite 2 years ago. But
there's there's only one streaming service you can get Fox Sports Midwest, right?
2.
YouTube TV.
YouTube TV,
YouTube TV and Hulu TV.
Hulu has it? I thought they okay.
Hulu
I think so.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But
they're the 2 that are big enough that they're not going to bitch over the cost.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I still have Spectrum.
And again, I'm not telling anybody you're wrong for what you do. I mean, I get it. Like my mom just switched and she talks about all the time how she misses, being able to just kind of flip through the channels. And sometimes, that's something I miss too, but I just can't imagine. Like I remember that happened with DirecTV years and years ago when I was still with them and how maddening it was. Cause it was like, I literally have to leave the house every other night so I can watch my fucking Blues games. Like I can't even imagine it now. That's ridiculous.
Well, Bill and I we went to the hideout, the hut. The hut. We to watch the Blues and the Red Wings in Sweden, the first 2 games of the season, because DirecTV had their issue with Versus at the time. So stupid.
Oh yeah. No, I did the same thing. I had to go to a buddy's house.
Yeah. The only bar in the area that had Dish Network.
Yeah. We called around everybody. We called Hooters. Oh yeah, we got it. Come on down.
Nope.
Just friends of ours get there and say, no, they don't have it. Don't come here.
No.
And we found the one bar.
Yeah.
And not a bad mushroom and Swiss burger either.
It was a fantastic burger they had. It was
$5.
That was good. They had the hut in O'Fallon. Yeah, O'Fallon, Illinois, or Shiloh. O'Fallon, one of those 2 towns.
Yeah.
O'Fallon. Yeah, great burger. Go to the hut, get a burger. And
if the hut would like to sponsor,
Let's Go Blues.
Yeah, that was back in like what was it? 09?
It was 11 years ago.
That was.
Brandy Capone, which Bill already responded, says, I'll take a stag with my Doritos. I got a weird one. Bud Light with Cheetos. I don't eat Cheetos a lot, but when I do, I crave a Bud Light, and I don't know why.
I'm a Cheetos fan. Cheeto, like crunchy Cheetos or Puffs?
I like them both. I'm a Doritos guy. I eat Cool Ranch Doritos all the time, and Cheez-Its. But every now and then, I'm craving some Cheetos, and when I do that, I got to make sure I have some Bud Light. You
a Stag fan, Jeff?
Stag? Oh, I drink Stag. I'm out, I can pretty much make myself drink Stag, anything
Whoa. Make yourself drink Stag?
I'm not a big Stag. I'm not going to go to the store and buy some Stag.
I like Stag. I've bought Stag. I mean, I haven't bought it in a while for my home, but I'll buy it out. You can't beat the dollar draft on Stag where most places you go. It's the best dollar beer out there. It's pretty good. I like Stag. Let's see, where am I at? The environment in the arenas, which will be interesting because there've been rumors of talked about piping in crowd noise, interesting camera angles, cardboard fans, or sound dampening panels or sheets or whatever. I think they have to do something because they're going to have the 5-second delay, but they're going to have to do something because because you can hear everything on the ice. I mean, any players are yelling anything, you're going to hear it.
That's what's always funny. Whenever my mom just comes to the Ponder tournaments we have every year, and she's always like, God, every year she says, I always forget how much you curse on the rink. And it's like, oh yeah, I always forget you can hear everything I say.
My parents stopped coming to games because I'm F this, F that. Bill knows.
Yep.
I'm a talker, it's a lot of bombs. I don't know.
I once yelled "shut the fuck up" at my dad from the ice. True story. No, as far as the the broadcasts go, the piped in crowd noise. Again, I've been watching a lot of the Premier League games, and I know Jeff, you were watching Bundesliga when they first came back. Because it was the only sport that was out there, and it was. I remember watching their Classic, Dortmund versus Bayern Munich, and it was like they didn't pipe in crowd noise for it, so you heard everything, and it was eerie. But listening to the Premier League, watching the Premier League games, they've been using the soundtrack from the EA FIFA games, and it's seamless. It really, I'm not the soundtrack, but the crowd noise that they have developed for the games, it's to me, and maybe it's because I play those games, it's seamless, and I don't miss a beat. It's when a shot goes into the crowd and they pan to it, you're like, yeah, there should be fans there, but it's not that big a deal.
And so the Cardinals game today, for anybody who watched the preseason spring training game, they did the same thing. They piped in noise, which after seeing today's game, I will guarantee 100% they're going to be piping in crowd noise, because it actually did work. You're right, Bill. Exactly, 100%. And yes, I watched the Bundesliga games as well, and it's the same thing. You hear it so. Okay, for example, again, I've got this TV right over here, and I had the Cardinal game on because the game was at 3 and I was still working, and I'm sitting here typing on my computer, not even thinking. I'm hearing, there's a big hit by the Cardinals, and I'm hearing the crowd noise, and I'm like, didn't even faze me. I thought, oh, okay, big hit, because I heard the noise and I heard Dan McLaughlin get a little excited, and then I look up and I see nobody in the left field bleachers, and I'm like, oh yeah. So they do it well. I mean, I really think that the people who are controlling that piped in noise probably studied this for the last couple months, and they've got it down to a T. So when you watch and you see people behind the plate, you see people behind the pitch, it makes sense that, oh wow, okay, there's nobody in the crowd.
You know what they should do?
But when you aren't paying attention and you hear it, oh man, it's seamless. It's beautiful.
You know what they should do? I mean, or they could do. I haven't thought this through. This just came to me, so this could be stupid, but
this is going to be a fun conversation.
Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, well, okay. So in the bleachers, okay, the home run area in baseball. So they should put tarps out there or something like targets for the hitters, not for them to aim at necessarily, but viewers could. They got a number of them out there, say like 10 feet wide or whatever each. Could have 20 of them out there, 30 of them out there. Viewers could then wager on which target will be hit next, and then they could donate that money to charity, or
I would gamble on that in a heartbeat.
See you know what I'm saying? Because then the person who's gambling the money could win something, and then a portion of the proceeds will then go to charity or whatever, or to the team if they're losing money or whatever. That'd be kind of interesting to have targets out there, and if a player hits one, then a certain whoever bets on that, digitally or virtually through a site can then win inning by inning too. It'd be kind of cool.
Would you look at that? He hit the fucking bull. It's like steak or something.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Austin Lynch in our YouTube chat says the MLB is using audio from MLB The Show 20. Is that true? That's because, man, it sounded good.
Where does MLB The Show 20 get their audio from?
I would imagine they probably bring
it from the buildings.
They either record from the buildings, or I think they actually bring people into an empty stadium and then have them. They say, I know that's how they used to do it back in the day, but it was okay. Now there's a triple from your home team, and then everybody would cheer, and there's a home run, and everybody would go crazy. So I think they still do it that way, but I don't know for sure.
So there's going to be a
real quick. So I saw something on Twitter a couple weeks ago that I think you guys would agree with. You know, it would be really cool, and this is really advanced, so I don't think you could get it done by the time the NHL starts in a week. But a really cool idea would be you have an app to where you have to participate in like games, and like you have to like, you know, the Blues just got a shot on goal, so you have to like hit something like, oh yeah, okay, Blues got a shot on goal, I would cheer here. And you would actually have the noise generated by an NHL app.
And like a meter, like the more fans that do it, the louder the crowd gets.
Like one of those crowd meters they have, but it actually is like
it actually works.
Paying attention to the game, and like that would be unreal. But I know that technology even today probably doesn't exist.
Oh, I'm sure it exists. I'm sure I'm sure it.
They don't want to spend the money on it.
I think the issue might be the delay involved, because it may take 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds for it to happen, and that's too late. But yeah, no, that's an interesting idea. So there's going to be a 5-second broadcast delay on the games. The NHL will implement this delay to censor out bad words on the ice, due to the fact you'll be able to hear most of what the players are yelling because of the lack of crowd noise to filter things out. So, and I was on Reddit and I saw this as a guy shared this article. Is tarpsoffhockey.net, is that a site, or is that like just a nobody site, a nobody blog? Because
I've never heard of it before.
I don't know if you saw this, but Chris Bugajski, I don't know how to pronounce that. Bujajsky. There's a lot of consonants in that last name. There needs to be a few more vowels.
I'm going to say the J is silent. It's Bugaski is my guess.
Bugaski? Okay.
Yeah.
Chris Bugaski of tarpsoffhockey.net. He said, basically, he hates the idea of a 5-second delay. He just adamantly against it. And he closed it by saying, it's one little word the NHL doesn't want children of young ages hearing. That 4-letter F word that we all effing use in our everyday vocabulary. So shut up, sit down, and watch hockey. And I'm like, you know what? My 8-year-old and my 10-year-old love watching games with me. I love watching games with them. It's fun. I would have a really hard time letting them watch games with me if they heard 300 F-bombs over 2.5 hours, clear as day, on TV. You know what I mean? I don't care personally. For me, it doesn't offend me at all, because like I said, I cuss like a sailor when I play. But I know how it is. That's hockey. I mean, hockey players cuss all the time. My God. But normally you don't hear that because of the crowd noise and other stuff going on. It filters it out. You don't hear much of it. But man, you're going to hear everyone. So I personally, I'm glad there's a 5-second delay. I don't know why. I guess people might be upset that there's going to be like dead air for a second or two every time an F-bomb is said, which might be kind of weird. But yeah, it'd be hard to watch a game with my kids and to hear the F word every 30 seconds out there. That would just be tough.
Yeah, I
don't know.
I'll disagree.
If Ryan O'Reilly had to apologize every time he said it, like he did with the Scott Oak interview.
Yeah. Well, how many people were upset at the Blues?
Alex Pietrangelo. Fuck yeah, boys.
Right. Well, how many people got upset at the Blues, like when they're hoisting the cup? It was F this, F that. People were complaining and about just that when they're holding the cup up. You're going to get the same kind of thing.
I agree in the sense that that's how the world is, and so you have to do something about it. I'm probably in the very low minority of people who just say their words, and we just need to learn to deal with them. And if we teach our children like differently than what we do now, that they will know not to use them either. But right now, they're a bad word. Don't say them. So of course they're going to want to say them.
Well,
but if you just say, "Hey, it makes you sound stupid when you use the F word every 5 words," that'd be a little different.
My kids know
that's not how society is.
No, and I've always, and personally, if I heard my kids say a bad word, it's not a huge deal. You know what I mean? They're, like you said, they're words. But however, in my household, there are adult words, and there are, they're words for adults only. And my kids know this. I mean, and I've taught them this. They know this. They hear words, and they hear words on TV, and it kind of bothers them. They know they're bad words, which, whatever. But they know. But I guess I just rather them be kids a little longer than to be thinking.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? Than just to have that around that environment. Because they're going to say them when they get older. Plenty of time for that. I'd rather them kind of be innocent a little bit longer, I guess. But
and this, for me, this is just part of a much bigger debate of how we treat words like that. But I will say that in society standards and how we raise our kids nowadays, and even the way we've raised them for 50 years in this sense, that's the F word, the S word, whatever, are words they shouldn't hear. So I agree in the sense that that's how kids are raised, and so we need to do it that way. But I've got some pretty extreme thoughts on censorship that maybe one day I'll get into on this show, but I won't do that tonight, as it's already 11:30.
Well, and that's the very last topic we have on the show. So,
all right. Well, I'll finish with a quick story about my 8-year-old son. Soon to be 8-year-old son. 8, right? Here's what's crazy, guys.
Your son's 8?
He's going to be 8 in
every time you tell me his age, I'm like, he's how old? Yeah, I would. It's time flies. I would have guessed like, oh, he's 4. Gee whiz.
Yeah, and here's what's crazy, guys. This is how long we've been on doing this show. He was not even a thought by the time we started this show. It was a couple months after when we started recording.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nuts.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm a big nerd, and video game I play a lot is the Tomb Raider games. They rebooted them recently on PS4, and they're a lot of fun. I had to fight a giant grizzly bear, and my son was watching me play, which he loves watching. He loves watching me play these games, especially the NHL game, but loves watching me play the Tomb Raider games too. And so I go down to this cave, and this bear starts charging at me, and I run the other way, and I just go, I wasn't even thinking, I just go, oh, fuck. And my son looks at me, 8 years old, autism, Down syndrome, doesn't talk a lot. He looks at me straight in the eye, and he just goes, oh, fuck, a bear. And I'm like, oh, shit.
See, okay. And it's funny because my daughter, and she's 10 now, but this was, I had like 4 years ago or something. 3 or 4 years ago, she was coloring, kitchen table. I'm sitting there, and she's going, and she went outside the line. And under her breath, she just keeps going. Under her breath, she goes, "God damn it!" I turned. I was like, "What did you say?" And I was like laughing on the inside. I'm like, "That is hilarious." That was so funny. And I'm like, "What did you say?" And she's like, "Oh, I nothing." I'm like, "Okay, well, those are adult words." I laughed. It was funny. It was so funny.
Oh, it's the same, dude. When I watch Blues games, obviously the D word, the F word, they pop out without even thinking, and the other team will score, and I'll just go, "Damn!" And Shay, like, he understands goals, So he'll go, damn, a goal. And I'm like, just say a goal. You don't have to say damn too. Please don't say that anymore.
Was it 2015, the year the Blues were ousted by the Hawks? Before 16.
Yes, that was
15.
14. 14, wasn't it?
The Miller year. Ryan Miller. So it was 14?
That was
14.
Okay. So anyway, so that playoff season when the Blues were officially eliminated by the Hawks. My daughter was watching the game with me. I'm like, I don't want to go. What? Was it Easter?
Was that on Easter?
It wasn't on Easter. No.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But it was, I mean, so I'm watching, and the game's over, and my daughter's sitting there, and I'm like, so this is what, 6 years ago, so she's like 4, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna go off on a cussing tirade. I'm gonna walk outside. So we're in the basement, and I walk out the walkout basement, and I close the door, and I just yell, "Fuck!" just as loud as I could, And I come back inside, and she goes, and I walk back by her, and she goes, I heard you. I heard what you said. I'm like, oh, did you? So I could have said it inside, huh? Okay. She still tells that story today, that she heard me when I went inside. So that was like
funny.
Left a lasting impression on her.
Yeah,
One
apparently.
time her dad said fuck.
Yeah, the one time. The one
Yeah,
time I
the
said
one
the F word.
time.
Yeah. I let it slip. Do you see that guy the when the Blues beat Dallas in Game 7 in overtime? Do you see the guy's celebration? It's on YouTube or Facebook or both. He's sitting there on the edge of his seat on the couch, and I guess his wife or whoever is videoing him, and he jumps up and it's like, yes, fuck you Dallas, jumping up and down, screaming at the TV, runs outside, comes back inside, and I basically said, yeah, this was me. This is what I did after we beat.
Yeah, you said you ran down the hall.
The
right?
exact same thing. I ran down the hall yelling. I don't think I said fuck, but I was the same. I was yelling, screaming down the hall. That may have been the most excited I've been after a goal ever. That goal.
Yeah, that was the same time when I jumped up off my couch and screamed, and my buddy Justin was over, former co-host of this show. Justin was over, and we both just lost it. My wife lost it. We were going nuts, and my son was asleep, and he woke up screaming. And I remember I looked over at Justin and I go, I might just let him scream for a couple minutes because I'm way too excited to deal with that.
What's the most exciting? What's the most excited you've been after a goal, Bill? The goal that did it for you. The most excited moment for you.
Pietrangelo.
That could be it. I know I almost got kicked out of my house. So both my parents were, I was in college, and I was going to school full time, working full time. That was a late game, and when he scored, I screamed, and I was still living at home. Woke up both my parents and almost got kicked out of the house. That very well could be it.
That was a good one.
It's between that and when Shen scored in Game 7. Because that was it.
Yeah.
That was when I knew it.
Yep.
I think my reaction to Shen scoring was literally jumped out of my chair and landed on my knees and said, "It's fucking ours," and broke down in tears. So
awesome. I think
it involved the F-bomb.
There's Janney's goal against the Hawks to sweep them in '93, which was my favorite goal ever until recent years. There's obviously Maroon's goal and Turgeon's goal. And Steen's goal in double overtime, or was it single overtime against the Kings, shorthanded. That was just because that was so out of the blue. Yeah. Too bad we lost that series. Fuck.
Yeah.
I think that
from the blue line.
Yeah, well, That was out. Yeah, that we were playing poker. Right.
Yeah, we were.
Next up for the Blues, August 2nd versus Colorado in Edmonton, in the hub city. So, looking forward to that. It's a 5. Did we say 5:30? We said 5:30, right? For that game?
Yeah, that game's 5:30. Actually, next up for the Blues is the game next
exhibition
Wednesday.
Correct.
Right.
So
next Wednesday, which we're thinking we'll have a post-game show. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. Not 100%, but I think we're at about 90%, if I'm guessing correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good time to have it, I guess, because it's post-game show after the Hawks, which we've had some history there. The Roar Bacon game was our first one. Roar Bacon. And then they had their first game a few days later, so against Colorado. Yeah. Yep. So we can do a little pregame for that too.
So we've got a couple comments that I want to get to before we close up. Austin Lynch sent a ton. He sent me a link actually. MLB The Show, just kind of that the NHL or the MLB is using audio from that. So that's really cool. It goes to show how far we've come in technology nowadays. And then also just want to give a call out to our friend Winning Unlimited over on Facebook. Adam Gold says he's here. I know he had a game, I think he said at 9:20. Adam, I hope you won over at Veta 70. Hopefully you guys won, and thank you for joining the show, even though it's very much at the end of the episode.
I told him he should have streamed it live on the bench during the game, our show.
What else is going to motivate you to score a goal than listening to three of us talk about hockey?
I know.
Yeah. That's the way I see it.
Let's see. What else we got here? Anything else? I got nothing. You guys got anything else you want to add? We good to go? Can we close her down?
Yeah.
Next time we talk to you, the Blues... Oh, I was going to say, the next time we talk to you folks, the Blues will have already played an exhibition game.
Yeah.
How about that?
Assuming there's no coronavirus flare-ups within the NHL. Knock on wood, people. Yeah. Get to the bubble. Just get to the bubble.
Yeah. Get there safely.
Right. So that will wrap it up for episode 74 of season 8. 74 episodes. That's a record. That's a new state record.
That's Ponder right there.
That's a new state record. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess a lot of it. Yeah. You're right.
You got
started the season too.
Like what, 15 or 20 of them, right? At least.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Start of the year we had a bunch of them too. So
That's true. Yeah. We did that.
It's just this whole year has been so fucked up. We should have already been started season 9 by now. That's the way I see
yes,
it.
We should have. That'll wrap up this episode. Thank you of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube chat and the Facebook live chat during the live show. We hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Liverpool FC 2019-2020 champions. Raised the trophy today. Have to give a shout out.
Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number 1. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues.